Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Ariel, but my friends call me Ari. This is my channel, my first video, and I wanted to talk about my experience with the Mirena IUD. I want to start off by saying that I am by no means a professional, a medical professional, a doctor. I just want to give you guys my experience with the Mirena IUD. So to start off, I've had the Mirena IUD for 4.5 years. I got it back when I was 20, I believe I was like 20 or 21 around. I was young, and got it to prevent pregnancy. No other reason. It did do just that. It prevented pregnancy the entire 4.5 years that I had it. Never had a slip up. It did its job as far as preventing pregnancy. When I first had the Mirena inserted, I did not have a period for 2.5 years, about 2.5 to 3 years. That did not start right away. It took my body some time to adjust. I would say about 6 months, and then about 2.5 years I went without a period. And that's pretty much all the good things I have to say about the Mirena IUD. It prevented pregnancy, and I did not get a period. Although now that I'm older, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing that I didn't get a period, and I'll get into that later on in the video. But to go into the bad things, I had recurrent BV and yeast infections. I would get them about every 3 to 6 months. When I would treat the BV, I would obviously have to take an antibiotic, and then I would get a yeast infection, and this would happen every 3 to 6 months. It was very frustrating. Also, I had a ton of weight gain the entire 4.5 years. The last year I had it, I did go on a very strict diet, doing no carbs or very low carbs and intermittent fasting, and I did drop some pounds, but I could never keep it off. It was like I would hold on to water, retain water so much, it was so hard to keep it off. After my 3rd year of having the Mirena IUD, I started having some brain fogginess and depression, and I became really sad. I didn't want to get out of bed. I was in a relationship with my now husband, and I don't know, I just was in a very dark space, and I actually was diagnosed with depression. My doctor wanted to put me on medication, but I didn't want to go that route. I just knew I wanted to get the Mirena out of me. So moving forward to that, I went to my doctor to have the Mirena taken out, and she could not find the strings. So I'll get more into that later on in the video as well. I want to talk a little bit more about how my experience went with the Mirena being inserted and also the removal. So when I had it inserted, I actually went into the doctor that day to talk about different birth control methods, and I decided on the IUD that day without any research. And my doctor was like, okay, let's do it right now. And I was unprepared, but I was like, okay, let's do it right now. Now, I did not know that most women are told to take some type of like painkiller, like an ibuprofen or Tylenol beforehand. I didn't know that. So she just laid me down to do it. And the whole process took about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and it was very painful. I've never had a baby before, and I've heard that it's very similar to like the pain of a contraction, and that hurt really bad. But it took about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and afterwards I felt very dizzy and lightheaded. I had to wait 30 minutes to drive home. If I was prepared, I would have had someone come with me because I was very lethargic afterwards. I don't even know how I made it home, but I did. I made it home, and everything was fine. I just went to sleep, and I continued to bleed for about 2 weeks, and that was it for it being inserted. Never felt it or anything after that. About a year into having it, I remember my doctor telling me I should check the strings every, once in a while, and I could never feel the strings. So I always thought maybe my fingers are too short. So when I met my now husband about 3 years later, I asked him, like, can you try to, this is TMI, but I asked him if he could like try to check the strings for me, and he couldn't even find the strings. So that's when I became worried and went to the doctors, and she couldn't find them either, and the strings had actually curled up into my uterus. and the Mirena was embedded in my uterine wall. It was actually embedded into my uterine wall. And I had a feeling because I would have like these very sharp pains on my left side every so often. And so that was actually the Mirena being embedded into my wall, my uterine wall. But I ended up having to have it surgically removed. I had to be put under local anesthesia. And the whole process took about 45 minutes. I can make another video going in depth about the cost of it and how I was before and after and the entire procedure, if you guys would like to know that. But I had to have it surgically removed. So my experience with the Mirena IUD was not a good experience by any means. I would not recommend at all. But take that with a grain of salt. I have heard many women have a fantastic experience with Mirena, and I've heard many women have a horrible, even worse experience than I have. So it's all on if you want to take that risk or not. And I think that's the same thing with any birth control method that you plan on using, is if you want to take that risk. It did perform what it told me it would do, that it would prevent me from becoming pregnant, and I didn't, so I'm very thankful for that. But I would not have done it if I knew all of the things that happened afterwards. I also have had some infertility problems after having a Mirena removed. Doctors will tell you that it's not linked, but doing my own research, I have found, I really firmly believe that it is linked, and I plan on speaking about that in future videos. So getting to future videos, I want to do videos about infertility, my TTC journey, my miscarriage journey, different family things. I want to vlog. I want to do a ton of different things, and I'm very excited to get into YouTube since I spend a lot of time at home. I don't work that often, so I do have a full-time job, but later on when you get to know me, you'll figure out why I don't work so often and why my schedule is so flexible once you get to know me more. But I'm excited, so please subscribe and hit the like button and stay tuned for more videos.